First of all, we're going to look at the reality in 2022, the customer journey, the whole process of knowing, liking, and trusting, which is not a very Facebook thing, but it's definitely a marketing principle. Looking at some creative considerations as well, and how that works into creating content that it helps to engage, educate, and excite. First of all, a bit about me. I'm a certified Meta lead trainer here in Australia and beyond as well. Done a whole lot of other Meta certifications as well as being a digital advisor and trainer and an entrepreneurship facilitator with the Entrepreneurship Facilitators Program from the Commonwealth Government in Australia. So first off, the reality in 2022. Doesn't take a genius to work out that things changed somewhat over the last 2 years. I won't mention the big C word, but what I will tell you is what happened because of it. And that is in the world of social media, we saw that small business and customers are now using e-commerce far more than ever before. You just see the proliferation of delivery services and online food ordering and click and collect and all those other methods of how retailers had to adjust to a very new world. Things that we didn't think would happen for a decade all changed in 3 months. And the second thing is that people are engaging with video content more than ever before. Netflix, Paramount Plus, just an example, but Facebook Watch, TikTok, and Instagram Reels are examples of how that's happened. Customers are also using business messaging in a very different way than what they were before. In fact, it's becoming an increasingly popular way for which customers will deal with small businesses. And we might have been used to calling people, but increasingly these days, particularly in younger demographics, we're seeing customers reach out to businesses through messaging more than ever before. So some of the ideas, I've got a few local ideas. How Ginger Pink is a small, let's just say, alternative boho kind of retailer in the Darwin Central Business District, and they were able to take their very small shop and their very small presence to a much more global audience through Facebook shops. Kakadu Blue have done the same. They've been able to sell their Australian blue citrus infused oils, mists, pest control, natural pest control and mosquito deterrent formulas as well online, and anti-beauty from a friend of mine in Perth in WA. Benjamin has been able to put together this amazing range of skincare regimes and skincare formulas that are made for all kinds of skin, as well as all kinds of people who do some strange things sometimes with their skin as well. All these are just small businesses, little startups that have been able to take advantage of the tools that appear on Facebook and other tools as well to increase the ability of their business to find new audiences and new customers. Because after all, in 2020, everything shifted online. We moved to this whole click and collect model, more shopping on our mobiles. I'm not the only person, surely, who sits there, watches TV on a Sunday night, and we'll see an ad, for instance, or a product on a show like a reality show, that they see that product and they want to then look it up on their mobile and then even buy it from there. That's an increasing trend. Virtual product visualization, these very pair of glasses I'm wearing now. In fact, I was with a friend yesterday and we're looking at trying on sunglasses and different glasses online, where we could have the AI or the phone camera scan our faces and then place the glasses on us to have a look at what they're going to see what they look good on us or not. Not all glasses look the same on everybody. So we're able to see whether that very colorful pair of glasses is going to be maybe a little too colorful for what we were doing. That sort of thing, again, increasingly common with clothing, makeup, and everything from hats through to the placing pieces of furniture into empty rooms. Online consultations are now very common, particularly through Messenger, where we might send, a message to a link to a Calendly link, or perhaps a link through to, some other tool that allows us to take bookings online. And another one which hasn't taken off as much in Australia as it has overseas is live streamed shopping events, where people will be selling everything from leggings through to, it could be bath bombs with jewelry in them, and they're able to sell those products and preview them online so people can be part of these live streamed events where they're not just getting the excitement of knowing that their name is being called, but also being able to buy right there and then the product they're looking at that's being demonstrated immediately by the person on their phone screen. Shopping habits really have changed. There was a time when I was young where going out doing the Thursday night shopping was something of an event. We had to dress for it. We couldn't just go out there looking like sloppy kids. We had to look good. Our parents wanted us to put on a nice shirt and nice shorts and nice shoes, and we'd go out and do our weekly shopping. These days, shopping is not an event that happens once a week. It's something which happens every single day. It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It could be Tuesday, it could be Sunday, but I'll be ordering my Coles online delivery at any time. There's no specific fixed time for that to happen. As well as watching television, seeing ads, seeing products reviewed, just scrolling through Instagram and seeing a product you like is another way for you to shop at all times. You're not shopping necessarily when it's suiting the retailer to shop. You're shopping at the time that actually suits you. But you've probably noticed there's a proliferation of different options now. Before, we might have had 2 or 3 different shops which we'd normally go to. Now that's exploded to thousands of potential places where we can buy the things we're after. And that infinite choice has created a little bit of a stress. It's like I'm walking into the peanut butter aisle of Coles or Woolies and seeing 50 jars of peanut butter. You're always going to go for the same one that you're used to. And technology now has the ability to personalize some of those choices for us so that we're much more likely, the primal brain likes to go straight towards things that are familiar, that are safe, that we know are going to be good. So we'll then go, okay, the thing that shows us something which is very familiar to us, it's very geared towards us, it's very, very personalized towards our tastes, is the thing that's probably going to get our attention the first and our purchase. And personalization sort of takes away that overwhelming feeling of where you're thinking, oh gosh, this is just so hard to choose which thing I want. I want to be able to choose the right thing the first time around. Well, yeah, we'll be able to do that through having those personalized ads, personalized posts, and personalized emails that come through to show us something that we will specifically be interested in. There was a time where e-commerce was just a website. You'd go to a website, you'd find a product, you'd then go, okay, now I'm going to buy that product. These days, though, through platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, even Pinterest these days, the products find you. They are matched towards your interests so that you're only shown the things that you're most likely wanting to be interested in. That personalization of ads has made the biggest difference. It means that retailers and small businesses just like you can more accurately reach the kind of people who are most likely to want to buy your stuff. Isn't that much easier than putting out a message to 1 million people who probably won't care? You've got a much better hit rate. The example would be like a profoundly personalized experience with something like Feroldi's shoe shop here, where they're saying, okay, this particularly sponsored post is going to go towards someone who is interested in male fashion, leisure. They may be a cyclist, they're in the city and they're in a commuter office. So they will need this kind of shoe. Whereas the next one would be someone who's artistic, who's into blogs, online quizzes, a bit of a fashionista, have an affinity with a certain group of people. Well, then we'll say, okay, they would like this pair of shoes. So each one of those sponsored ads goes to very specific people. So you're not sending, for instance, the option to buy high heels and stilettos to a 35-year-old male in rural New South Wales. Just wouldn't be a good match. Well, you never know. It might be a perfect match. We don't know that guy. So the growth of video now in across the world, and particularly here in Australia as well, has meant now that we have seen on the Facebook Watch part of Facebook. And now, if you don't know what that is, basically you watch any video on Facebook, it'll go automatically to another video and then give you a playlist of videos. That's Facebook Watch, and 9 million people within Australia are using that now. You won't even want to know the kind of numbers we're talking about once we go to bigger markets like the US and China. Well, not China, but India, for instance, has like staggering numbers when it comes to Facebook Watch. But in Australia, 9 million people will watch something in that feed every single month. And that's dramatically increased over the last 2 years. But one thing you do need to know is that the more personalized a video is that you produce, so the more it's geared towards a certain kind of person, in a certain kind of talk and a certain kind of language and certain kind of presentation style, it's considered more premium. People will consider you more premium the more personalized you are towards them. I don't know why that is, and there's probably a psychological insight into why that is, but all we know is that it's about relevance. The minute that a video is more relevant, or that something that you see on social media is more relevant, it becomes the number one reason why someone would decide to watch it. The more relevant it is, the more likely they are to watch it. So if you put out something which is completely self-absorbed, self-obsessed, and not really anything to do with the things that people are interested in, well, you're not likely to see anybody take much interest in that. We also know that it's the number one attribute for a video to be considered premium if it's relevant, and the number one factor for engaging with an ad. So liking, sharing, commenting, passing it on to someone else, clicking on a call to action button. It's the number one reason is if it's relevant, not the length of the video, not the production quality of the video, not the service that's being offered in the video. It's all to do with the fact that it's relevant. Let's face it, the things that we are not interested in, we're not likely to look at much. Which relates, I guess, to the rise of authenticity through things like Reels. Now, some of you have seen TikTok, some of you have seen Reels. They're pretty much almost the exact same thing, same tool, just slightly different audiences. Reels helps people connect with people, and you connect with them through their interests, through entertaining contact. It's not necessarily fully educational content. It's not necessarily serious content. It's something that's fun, entertaining, bright, cheerful, lots of movement is how Reels works best. And it also is the one part of Facebook and Instagram where you can be discovered by people who don't follow you. So no, everywhere else you go, you don't really get known and get shown unless you pay for ads, unless people will follow your specific page or follow your specific profile. Well, in Reels, your reel goes out to the world, and any kind of person could end up with that based upon, number one, the relevance of that video to what they like, and then secondly to other factors like the virality or the popularity of that video, and some other factors as well. But the fact is that is the one place where you can be discovered without having to have people follow you. It also is in the 9:16 format, the full mobile upright portrait format. And the possibilities there are that you can get full body length things. So if you're selling clothing, it's a much better format for showing full body length. It's a much better format for intimacy, for actually being able to get in close and personal with the subject in the camera. So leverage that full mobile screen and tell, I guess, a much more immersive story in the one device that is most common, most popular with everybody today, and that's their mobile phones. Great reels are all about being unique, being relatable, and then also being something you can recreate again and again. We all see the big influencers who do incredible work with their reels and their TikToks. You don't actually have to do that. What you just need to be is high impact. And then make sure that the tricks and tips you're using to make those are easy to recreate. Now, organic reach is like the swear word, the naughty word, what you want to say of Facebook and Instagram. We know that, yes, it's over the last 10 years, organic reach for businesses has plummeted. And there's a reason for that. Back 10 years there might have been 50,000 businesses worldwide on Facebook. Now there's 17 million. There's a lot more competing for there. And there's like tons more people. We went from, having 500 million people on Facebook back in 2012 to having nearly 3 billion of them. That's a massive increase. That means it's a very noisy place and very hard to get attention. We also noticed that this year that some organic reach for businesses took a bit of a further hit, and the reasons are pretty simple. In 2022, we've had a few big things happen. First of all, war in Ukraine. Second of all, floods in the east coast of Australia. Third was the return to the office of people who hadn't been in their offices for up to 2 years. And fourth was return to international travel and open borders across the country. People have different priorities right now. They may not have the same priority to sit there and watch endless content on a video feed like they did maybe a year ago. Now they've got other things they need to do. Life has returned much to normal, and so too has the use of a lot of these social platforms. At any time, you need to know that attention can shift away from what you're used to in the everyday. So when that does happen, you need to have some kind of plan, because in 2017, we saw that everyone was into content calendars, awareness days, throwback Thursdays, the same Canva templates you see everywhere, talking heads, talking, live videos. 2022 were all about contextual awareness, high impact video. In fact, I'm going to go and look at some of these things that you really need to look at while we're starting to run out of time. So poorly performing businesses on Facebook tend to have this same thing in common: poor contextual awareness, not understanding the world around them and the world around their client and their customer, understanding that when there's East Coast flooding, that people can't just go and buy things. People often don't have good internet connections. People are concerned about their life, their property, and their jobs, not about buying a new pair of leggings from your online store. So be aware of the context that people are living in before you start, throwing the towel in, saying that Facebook's terrible. Think about irrelevant content and making sure that you're not producing it. Fridays and hump days and all that sort of stuff. No one cares. What you need to do is be relevant. Remember, relevance is the number one reason why someone will think that your post is premium, and number one reason why they would interact with it and even buy from it. Third would be single images and graphics. Get rid of them. They're just not reaching. You've got to do the stuff that's going to reach the most people. Video is the most common format that reaches the most people. Secondly, is galleries of images, not single images. A single image will just be ignored on something like Facebook simply because it's not giving anyone a chance to interact much with it. Now, the talking head videos. I'm doing one right now on a webinar. Educational videos are great, but I'm not just a talking head in your screen. I'm also got a presentation going on around that as well. Unfortunately, when people use Facebook Live, they pick up their phone, they put it up in front of them, and they just start talking and think that that is enough. You've got to think a bit beyond that. Add some action into it. Go somewhere. Go to a different background. Even bring someone else in. Live videos these days can have multiple participants. Bring in someone. Do an interview. Do something more than just be a talking head. And remember too that most of us don't have our sound on when we're watching these things. So we might be standing in the line at a cafe and we can't really take a call or without actually taking it up to our ears because we may not have earbuds or some headphones in. And then understand that there's a customer journey and that you need to produce content that matches where people are at, whether it's awareness where they don't really know you, whether it's consideration where they are getting used to you but they're shopping around, or conversion where they're ready to buy. Understand that in the awareness stage, they don't know you, they don't necessarily like you, they don't trust you, and they don't really want what you're selling right at that moment. But once they get to know you, when they do need that product, you become part of their consideration. They know you, they might even like you. They don't necessarily trust you yet, but they are a little bit interested in what you're selling. But when they are at that point where they want to purchase, they will know you, they will like you, they will trust you, and they're ready for you to give them an excuse to buy, which could be specials, discounts, offers, vouchers, whatever you need to do to get someone across the line. So, what do you need to create for each of those stages? What are the kind of pieces of content in 2022 that you need to? In the awareness stage, use video wherever possible because it just reaches far further. Be high impact, it gets attention. Identify the problem that the customer is having and then suggest that you may have the solution for them. That's the kind of content to create. On the consideration stage, show them why you're special and why you're unique. Ask them to compare you with others who do what you do and educate them more about the benefits of using your particular product. Education is vital at this because it gives them more reasons to consider you compared to someone else who's not educating them. And finally, at the conversion stage, that's where we're talking about, competing on price point, offering assurances and guarantees. So if something goes wrong, they've got somewhere to go to. If they got some they need help with, they can call or email or contact you in some way to get assistance. And offers things like special limited offers as well, discount codes. An example would be this skincare range where, in the awareness, something like faces and splashes of water and color and movement, the wow factor, the colorful face mask and the big smile are going to get attention. In the consideration stage, talk about the ingredients, talk about the benefits of those ingredients, talk about organic certification or the bigger range of products you've got and the options in sizes and different ingredient mixes that you can do. And when it comes to the end, when you want them to buy, then things like bundles, deals, subscriptions, free gifts, and offering different price points for buying different things like free shipping and all that. All those things will help someone to make that on-the-spot decision to buy from you. Creatively, though, there's very, very simple things you can do in your posts and your ads. Keep the words short and sweet. No more I need to say about that. The long-winded, ongoing profiles with tons and tons of text, no good anymore. Short, sweet, and to the point. Prompt people to act. Include some kind of call to action in what you're doing. Ask people, in this example, message us to get yours delivered today. Give people the next step to take. Don't assume they know this next step to take. Because in case you haven't noticed, people can be kind of dumb sometimes. And in this example, use relevant hashtags on Instagram. Don't go for 50 different hashtags that are not relevant. All you're going to do is attract people like Inga from Sweden, who's never going to buy your products from your shop because she's not in Australia. You want to make sure you keep those hashtags relevant to what's in the photo and also relevant to where you are. Use really common things to take better photos. Natural light is great. Using reflective materials, white walls. At the moment, I'm using a window in a hotel in Adelaide where I'm visiting for this week to be able to bring this message to you because it's a nice bright area with a semi-decent background in it and some good acoustics. So I'm using the things that are around me rather than having to go into a recording studio because you don't have to do that. The rule of thirds is great for photography. Locate your subject to where those intersecting lines of the grid is and they'll look like a much more balanced photo. And because of the law of Fibonacci numbers, won't explain what it is, but it's safe to say things that are off center look actually more comfortable to the human eye than things that are right in the center. They tend to look very, very awkward when they're right in the center. Take photos and products from different angles, hold them up, show them in use, put them on places they normally wouldn't be, anything that's going to highlight it to something new, and then leverage attention. You know, deliver your message in such a way that it's bright, colorful, and it gives you a reason to be able to focus on it and read it. Make sure everything's designed for mobile. Use the space you've got. Keep the text minimal so that, like in this example, the point of it is in the video that's happening, not the text that's on the screen. The text just gives you a bit of a prompt.